I'd like you to go. Anyway, good. We're down to the multiple choice, Ryan. You've got a tiny little bit left to go.
Good,
Tiny little
good.
bit.
Micro bits.
Yeah. So now, mine is a really simple one, really basic kind of concept. It's a multiple choice. So, which of these epidemics did not really exist?
Ooh.
Right? The laughing pandemic, the penis retraction pandemic, the cat and dog nun epidemic, and the ashen dead pandemic.
Yes, what rabbit hole did you go down? Okay, so ashen, cat and dog nun
So it's
pandemic.
the laughing pandemic, the penis retraction pandemic, the cat and dog nun epidemic, and the ashen dead pandemic. You know the difference between a pandemic and an epidemic? An epidemic is in one kind of group. So that's why you've got to say the cat and dog nun epidemic, because it was only amongst nuns. It was a thing that only nuns got, is what I'm saying.
Oh
And
my
then
God.
and a pandemic is something that stretches beyond a single group. So there you are. That's the difference. But yeah. So that's why
excellent.
we say the
Thanks for
laughing pandemic, the penis retraction pandemic, the cat and dog nun epidemic, because it's just among
thanks for
nuns.
that.
Yeah, I'm saying it's just among nuns, and the ashen dead pandemic, which spread
Shit.
beyond one group. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's flippin'. Okay. Well, I can imagine ashen dead. I imagine it is like the corpse goes an ashy color. I can imagine that's a thing because they had a disease. I can imagine that's a thing. Laughing, I can imagine that, if it was a disease that went to your head and you just went crazy and laughed, I can imagine that was a thing. Nun, cat and dog. And the other one was what?
The penis retraction pandemic. Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Okay, I'm gonna go with. Oh man, it's between the nun and the penis. What I'm gonna do?
It's between a nun and a penis.
Oh,
Every priest ever between a nun and a penis. Jesus is between a nun and a penis.
What would Jesus do?
Yeah.
I'm gonna retract my penis.
Yeah.
This is hard, and I'm not punning the penis. Right. No, your brain. You're taking a piss with a penis. I think there was a pandemic with a cat and dog nun. And that retracting penis.
There was an epidemic, remember?
No,
it only occurred amongst nuns.
I know my answer. My final answer. The one that didn't happen was the cat and dog nun epidemic.
All right, let me start at the top.
The penis pandemic happened, laughing pandemic happened, and the what the hell's in this?
Ashen dead.
Ashen dead.
Right, okay, so you're saying those happened. All right, let me start at the top. The laughing pandemic. In Tanganyika, in 1962, 3 schoolgirls were suddenly seized by fits of laughter and weeping. And from there, they started hysterically laughing, and it spread to their class, it spread to the rest of the school, and it spread into the wider community. At one point, affecting over 1,000 different people, apparently, at the same time. So it's a real thing. The school itself was closed, and 2 nearby boys' schools were closed. The community was in a total uproar. Eventually, medical investigators could find no physical reason for the laughter and the hysterics, and determined it was likely a case of mass hysteria in a susceptible population. So it did occur, 1962 in Tanganyika.
So why pandemic, not epidemic?
Because it spread beyond just the school. So the school would have been the closed epidemic, and then it spread beyond them into the wider community.
And they don't know what caused it.
Yeah, they say, mass hysteria amongst the susceptible population.
Okay, something psychosocial.
Yeah, the cat and dog nun epidemic. So the psychologist John Waller, writing for the British Psychological Society, reported that in 1491 there was a problem with various nunneries experiencing nuns who behaved like dogs, birds, or cats, running, jumping, clawing, and biting. The official explanation at the time was demonic possession. Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, but he believed that religious repression, strictness, and hysteria were a combination of that. Was it was people just acting out against very very restrained environment. And yeah, and in fact,
Shame.
the interesting thing about it was that it didn't just occur then. There are reports of it occurring a few times over the last 1,000 years in convents around Europe. So
Wow.
it's not, yeah, so it's a thing that literally happens. The Ashen Dead pandemic. Zombies don't exist, right? And so the Ashen Dead pandemic is in fact the false one. So I left the most interesting one for last, the penis retraction pandemic. It's called Koro, which is specifically a cultural delusion involving the retraction or shrinking of the penis, nipples, or vulva, right? So it's a feeling that your penis is going to shrink into your body and kill you. And it manifests itself in people literally grabbing their private parts or their nipples and pulling them outward to try and stop this from happening. They try and stop it. They kind of clamp their penises to their legs. They do all kinds of things. And in 1967, a national newspaper in Singapore ran rumors that the local pork was carrying a vaccination for swine flu that caused Koro, which is this thing. And that one of the pigs that had been vaccinated had been found dead with a retracted penis, and this caused nationwide mayhem and a pandemic level event in which people thought that their genitals were vanishing up into their bodies and would ultimately kill them. So that's real. The penis retraction, the laughing pandemic, the cat and dog nun were real. The Ashen Dead, the most realistic one, because that's how my brain really works. That was the
the guys going. The next day, the report was, oh, sorry, it was a female pig. It was a vagina. Got you guys. Yeah. Retracted penis. You.
Look, what's nice about
remove the duct tape from your inner thighs. Everybody.
Everybody very sheepishly. But what's nice about that is that obviously all it takes in 1967 is for a newspaper to run a story that a vaccination is bad for you, and people will abandon the vaccination and stop believing that their penises are disappearing inside their bodies. Nowadays, all it takes is a WhatsApp message, and people will believe a vaccination is bad for you. Anyway, there you go.
That's a great fact, and you nailed me with the